What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase. This film is actually one from the 80s, kind of a lost gem, if you will. At the time, it's very underappreciated. It's one I actually discovered by accident on cable TV, or from my mom's VHS collections I've talked about a few times. Um, and I think now it's kind of gotten I don't want to say quite a resurgence because it's not like it's totally out there, but I think it's definitely better appreciated now, and it's being looked at differently than it did in 1984. And that film is Brian de Palma's Body Double, and this is the new 4K Steelbook released from Sony Pictures. Um, and I've stated before my uh, not really my lack of interest, if you will, in steelbooks. However, this is a beautiful looking steelbook, I gotta admit, and I don't think it was available any other way. So I said, if that's what they got, that's what they got. I'll take it. But this is a nice looking steelbook, and this is a movie that I absolutely love. It is my favorite Brian De Palma film, and granted, I haven't seen a whole lot of De Palma films, but the ones I've seen, this is my favorite, and which is probably, I don't know how many people are going to look at Body Double and say, really, that's your favorite De Palma film, but to me it is. There's something about it I really like. It could be because it's a little sleazy and it has like a bit of the adult cinema fare in it, if you will. But still, I like the story. It gripped me. Like I said, this is a film that I found going through those VHS tapes I talked about that Mom would record. Just find movies, whatever. Going through this book she had, and as a kid, you're looking through, saying, "Oh, this Body Double, that sounds like it could be dirty." I was a bad kid, but I wasn't wrong. But I watched the movie, and ended up, really getting invested in the story. I thought this is really cool. I got really into it. But it's something I've always liked. I mean, it's something again I can't put my finger on it. Well, maybe I could. At the time, it's we're talking about it. When I saw this, I was probably like 10, 11, maybe 12, whatever it was popular at the time on Showtime, HBO. So I know what my appeal was to it, but again, there was something about it, the whole mystery of it, it really kind of gripped me. And as an adult, even more so, I really am fascinated with the aspects of the rear window-esque, Hitchcockian kind of film with a little more of a sleazier tone. Um, but yeah, it's one of my, personal favorite films. I do have like a little mini poster of it even hanging up in here. But this is, one I'm really glad that it's getting a little more appreciation now than when it initially did. And it was so cool to see they got a 4K, Steelbook release. That's pretty cool. Before this, I mean, I think there was an American Blu-ray. Kind of, I don't know what was on it. I never got it because what I had prior was this Indicator Films Blu-ray, which was at the time the best edition of it had. There's some really good special features on here, like an interview with Craig Wasson as a star, a nice multi part making of behind the scenes of the film, which I found very fascinating, very interesting. And like, what else was on here? You had so the interview with Craig Wasson. There was, I think something on here with, oh my gosh, the isolated score of Pino, was it Donaggio? His musical score is isolated on here, which I didn't get a chance to listen to that, but it's pretty cool. And there was like another interview I think that's on here, but I can't find. But this is a nice 5.1 mix, really good sound, good quality. But this is a great Blu-ray. I mean, it was Indicator, so it's region. Well, no, it's actually region free, but it's from overseas. But that was all I had until this showed up. So let's talk about this Blu-ray. First of all, let's talk about Body Double. For those of you who are not familiar with this film, Body Double is a story of the actor Jake Scully, played by Craig Wasson, who my only knowledge of Craig Wasson by this time was he was the lead opposite Heather Langenkamp in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. I can't remember his character's name, but that's primarily what I've seen him from. I think another thing he's known for is a film, I think it's a Ghost Story, which I've not seen. But I've wanted to see that. And I checked it out. But I think he's in that. And I remember from an episode of Star Trek: Deep Space Nine. I'm sure he's been in other places, but those are the kind of things that stick out. Primarily for me, it's Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 and Body Double. But anyways, so he plays Jake Scully. He's an actor, and when the movie starts out, he's dressed up in this really garish, kind of biker or vampire stick. It's a B movie vampire film, and he's struggling because he suffers from claustrophobia. So he's filming a scene in a coffin, and he's having a hard time, and he's having a panic attack. And basically, he's let go from his job because he just can't hack it. So he goes home to find his wife with another man. His wife, and this is one of the things that stuck out because this is a really interesting quick cutscene. He walks in on her, all flagrante, if that's the right term, on another guy, and it's Barbara Crampton, au natural, with another guy. And from what I understand, this is Barbara Crampton's very first film role. And it's a cameo. It's a quick, I don't think it lasts more of a minute, but you just see her real quick and just look at her eyes as she realizes she's caught. And, it's just like, wow, that's her first role in a film, and this is what she has to do. It's pretty cool. You don't think where she started and what the person and actor she's gone on to become and the things she's done from this. But that kind of sets up Jake. He just has almost a sad sack, and just he's got this claustrophobia. He's just stuck with this. His job's not working out. His wife is just cheating on him. He's having a total breakdown. He goes to acting class and runs into this other guy who takes an interest in him and basically gives Jake because Jake's looking for a place to stay at this point because he's moved out of his apartment, obviously. So this guy tells, hey, I'm house sitting for this rich guy, but I need to go away, so can you mind taking over for it? It's really cool. It's a nice, don't worry about anything. It's on the hill. It's this really cool retro, not retro, but, state-of-the-art looking. It looks like a giant UFO, this hotel, or this home. But it's really cool. Just do whatever you want. But he also tells Jake, here's the thing you really got to check out for. Right across the way, he's got his telescope, and, check out this neighbor. Same time every night, she does this really cool dance. You got to see it to believe it. And sure enough, Jake does this, and he gets infatuated with this woman. I don't want to give too much away, but basically he is constant. He's totally infatuated because she's going through the same routine every night, and he's watching her. He really ramps up the voyeuristic aspect of it. This is kind of the Rear Window inspiration, if you will, and he kind of catches her or sees she's having trouble with he basically sees things he probably shouldn't see, and he's getting himself involved in things he shouldn't be. But he sees something really bad that basically gets him involved in trying to figure out what's really going on. And along the way, he ends up getting involved in the world of pornography. And that's not like we're not talking like, hardcore or nothing like that, the movie. In that case, it's basically just, it's not like, we're totally going into porn. He goes, there's a clue that leads him into, this porn world where he meets the actress Holly Body, played by Melanie Griffith. And we'll just leave it at that. Because he's trying to figure out what's going on, what's real. But it's got a nice twist. It's a great. I really liked, I felt like there's some suspense and some mystery to it, and I really enjoyed it. It's like a nice, it's what you call an erotic noir in a lot of ways. It's one of the earliest of the erotic thrillers. I think around this and Body Heat. It came out close at the same time. And obviously, the erotic thriller would really take off, probably about the late 80s, early 90s, and be a big thing, especially straight to video. I actually have a documentary on it called Why We Kill, I think it is. It's basically all about that era and the whole, genre of the erotic thriller. And this is kind of one of the earliest ones, and it's done so well. I mean, there's points of it where it can be kind of sleazy. There's points where it's highly erotic. And there's, like I said, it's got a nice, to me, gripping mystery. I really enjoy it. I really get into this film. What's interesting about this too, if you look in some of the background of the film, because you've got some really good actors in it. I mean, you obviously got Craig Wasson. Look at my notes down here. Melanie Griffith, of course, this I guess was kind of a comeback for her. She'd done some other things like immediately after this. She got to do that movie was Something Wild, and her career kind of took off after that. She was actually nominated for a Golden Globe for this film, which is pretty cool. There's a lot of nudity in it. Obviously, you're dealing with the porn world and the eroticism of it. You've got Deborah Shelton, who was absolutely gorgeous, playing Gloria, who is the neighbor across the way that Jake is watching. And Deborah, I think she was, I don't know if she was like a beauty pageant winner or contestant. The one thing I really know Deborah for is a couple years on the series Dallas, where she was, I think she was actually married to JR at one point. Of course, JR married a lot of guys, a lot of people in that series, a lot of women in that series. I think he had at least 3 or 4 wives. I mean, some of them married once or twice, or 2 or 3 times. I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, she is absolutely gorgeous in this role, this infatuation that Jake has with her, and it's easy to see why. Unfortunately, she is dubbed, as Brian de Palma didn't like her voice, and you can kind of sense it because the voice used is a very sultry, sexy. And not that Deborah Shelton doesn't have a nice voice. I guess for this role, it's almost young Kathleen Turner-esque. That really, again, that. Oh, what's the word? It's sultry. That's the best I can describe it. Interesting enough that for that role originally, Brian de Palma was hoping to get Sylvia Cristal for that, which I think would have been really good because Sylvia Cristal we talked about some time back in my After Dark, where she was oh my gosh, I can't remember that. Private Lessons, that's it. But she's also known as Emmanuelle, the original Emmanuelle, and so it definitely would have been a good part for her, but she was not available, so they got Deborah Shelton, which I think works for what's needed for the film. As far as Holly Body goes, who Brian De Palma really wanted was adult film star Annette Haven. Which interesting. I mean, that would have been totally, blown everyone's mind to have a really well-known adult film star play this role of an adult film star. I mean, it seems perfectly made, but however, the producers and studio nixed that immediately because of her career as an adult film star. They didn't think it would work, so they got. Eventually Melanie Griffith. Melanie Griffith actually wasn't even the first person they cast or they wanted. Where was it? They had talked to Linda Hamilton actually, but she turned it down to do Terminator. I think she made the right choice. Jamie Lee Curtis, Carrie Fisher, and Tatum O'Neal were all considered, but it was Melanie Griffith that got the role, and I think Melanie does a really good job. I mean, she comes across as very sweet, but no nonsense. And honestly, very sexy for what she does in this movie as Solid Body. Now, Annette Haven did stay on as a consultant for Brian Palma to help with, some of the adult film aspects of this movie. Which again, it's not focused around that. It's kind of just like one little bit section, and it kind of figures in the plot, but it's not the focus of it. Also, let's see. Along with Annette Haven, you had a couple of cameos. From was it Linda Shaw, Alexander Day, Carol Lott, Melissa Scott, and Barbara Peckinpah were all in this great film within a film scene. And this is another interesting aspect is that you have the band Frankie Goes to Hollywood doing their song "Relax," and this is basically the video. This is where the video's from. Where Jake he's going as a performer into adult films, he's walking in this big party scene, and he's basically in the video for like they actually use a scene as the actual video. Walking this huge great orgy thing, all kinds of debauchery going on. But yeah, they're playing. I mean, obviously not the whole video in the movie. It's like up to the first part where that's where he ends up meeting the Holly Body character. But they kind of the lead up to that is the video. Now on the release, there is the actual Frankie Goes to Hollywood video, which shows a complete version of that. Which watching that video, and I'm thinking, could this have even played on MTV? Maybe late night, because there's a lot of assless chaps in this video. Not really nudity or something, but a lot of, very suggestive stuff for 1980s MTV to be played. It had to be, if it played, it had to be late night. But it's interesting. And to know, I guess, that this song was written and done, I'm assuming, for this movie, which is crazy. Because that's a pretty, everyone knows Relax. So there you go. Like I said, it didn't do well. Box office, I think, it was hit and miss. People liked the style of it, but that's really about it. But again, it's kind of been reevaluated and reassessed over time, and I think it's one of, I think, Brian de Palma's less talked about films, and I think it deserves more praise. I think it's really good. Again, I really like it a lot. I mean, and again, maybe it's just because of the porn aspect, and it's it's raunchy. That appeals to me. But I do like the movie. I think it's maybe not as good as Dressed to Kill, which actually kind of was what led to this film, because he talked about that he was from interviewing the body doubles for Angie Dickinson. Jeez, my mind used to work when he was interviewing the body doubles for Angie Dickinson for Dressed to Kill. He kind of got the idea of, the whole weird thing of, how did he put it? I wondered what I would do if I wanted to make sure to get somebody's attention and had them looking at the opposite, somewhere else where I didn't want them to be paying attention to me. That's kind of what body double does. You've got, your character is, he's attracted to this over here, but trying to, not really taking his eyes away. It's like you're seeing something, but at the same time, you're not seeing what you think you see. That's all I can really say. Hence, that's the whole mix-up. But that was brought on from, inspired from Dressed to Kill. But like I said, it may not be quite up to Dressed to Kill, but I think it's very close. I think it should at least be in the same discussion. Definitely, they're both very good erotic thrillers, and I think both done very well by Brian de Palma. Side note, that later on in I think 90s, ladies, I'm not sure when, there was an adult film actress named Holly Body who took her name from Melanie Griffith's character. Now, this Holly Body didn't look anything like the Melanie Griffith character. I believe she's brunette and had was much more well endowed. But I found that was, I remember when I saw Holly Body, I'm like, that name, that's, because actually I was thinking maybe they just pulled it. I didn't realize it was, I thought maybe Body Double got the name from an actress report. No, it was the other way around. So who says that, it wasn't influential? So, the 4K Steelbook. Again, this is nice. I mean, I'm glad with the Steelbook they didn't do some kind of crazy alternate art or some kind of new original art. They stuck with the image on the original poster, because I've always liked that image, and that's the same image I said on that mini poster I have. The back, you've got Melanie Griffith as a Holly Body. Really nice. Again, what I really wish that Steelbooks did was actually put a title up here. I know people like the art, whatever. It's one of the things I don't like. I like to know what the film, I obviously know what the film is, but I would still like to have a title up there. I mean, it's written there on the side, obviously. But, you're getting something like Body Double. That's great. Take it away, it's not there. So, again, back to my custom creators out there. If you're watching, I could use a slip or a slip box for this. Hit me up. I love a custom slip case for the Steelbook, or a slip box to put this in. So opening up, we got a digital code, and you've got the other side is a blank wall. There's nothing to really see, but you've got the Blu-ray and the 4K, and the 4K. You've got 4 featurettes. The Frankie Goes to Hollywood music video, the EPK interviews. I'm not sure what the EPK stands for. Photo gallery and theatrical trailer. And well, see on the first disc is just the film. The second disc has already, the Blu-ray actually has special features. The interviews on here are with Brian De Palma, Craig Wasson, and Melanie Griffith, and they only actually last about 3 minutes, 2-3 minutes. They're not very long. Just a couple quick questions, and that's it. The featurettes are what was talked about on here, that whole breakdown. Pure Cinema was an extensive interview with, Pure Cinema, that's the extra feature that's on here. I couldn't remember. It's the seduction, the setup, the mystery, and the controversy. That's the 4-part chapter of the making of Body Double, which is really interesting. Great behind the scenes with Brian De Palma and other people talking about what they had to do to make the film and going through it. And that's all special features that are on here. Like I said, it's pretty much everything. This only thing that's missing is the Pure Cinema, the extensive interview with the first assistant director, Joe Napolitano. That's hard to say, but that's missing from here, and the isolated score from Pino Donaggio. What's also interesting is that the 4K has a nice 7.1 surround mix, while the Blu-ray 6 with 5.1. That's it. So I believe it. I don't know if it's an Atmos soundtrack or not. If it says yes, Dolby Atmos, it's Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, but it's a great crisp sounding 7.1, which is really cool. Not that it's you going to use a lot because it's not like an action oriented film, but the musical blare, you got some nice surrounds. It's booming. It's good. The 4K looked good. The 4K was beautiful. Everything, I mean, it just looked. That's all I can say. It looked gorgeous. Best I've ever seen it. The Blu-ray on here, I'm assuming, isn't like an upgraded transfer or anything. It's pretty much probably the previous Blu-ray they already had. They just stuck it in here, but the 4K looks nice. I'm really pleased with it. I mean, I've never seen Body Double look better or sound better. That 7.1 really kicks in. I love it. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I got here. But for Brian De Palma's Body Double from 1984, if you've never seen it, I highly recommend checking it out. Especially if you like Brian De Palma, you never check this one out. Of course, if you're a big Brian De Palma fan, you've probably seen it. But if not, if you like, a good erotic mystery thriller, you're not too stuffy. You can handle a little nudity and a little bit of not. It's not over the top with porn. Like I said, it's pretty tame by today's standards, quite frankly. So you're not any kind of over the top, nudity or really crass sexual stuff, because we're talking to porn. I mean, it's barely there. It's pretty soft. Like I said, it's got some. It can feel a little dirty sometimes, but it also be very erotic at the same time. So it's definitely worth a watch. And again, I really like the mystery of it too. So yeah, Body Double 4K. Check it out. Okay, if you enjoy this, click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on Body Double, if you picked up, if you've ever seen it, what's your favorite Brian De Palma film, or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.